everyone, it's Kerry back again today. I recently shared a video showing you these little journals that I had created where I've used a greetings card for my cover. So if you didn't see that video, I'll pop a link to it in the description box below. But today I'm going to show you a tutorial on how you can make your own little journals using greetings cards. To create your greetings card journal, you're going to need a greetings card. It doesn't matter what size it is, and you can always adjust your pages to suit the card that you're working with. It also doesn't matter whether it's a new card. This one just happens to be new with no writing in. But if it's a second-hand card that's got writing in, or if it's got a greeting in, it doesn't matter because you're going to line it anyway. If it is blank like this one and you didn't want to line it, you could just stitch a signature straight into this and have a little notebook journal ready to go. So for today's project, I've chosen this greetings card. Now, my greetings cards happen to have imagery on both the back and the front. A lot of cards won't have that. They might just have, the brand of the card, or maybe just a blank back cover. So you can always cut a piece of scrapbook paper to size and pop that onto the back cover, or you could just do a little bit of collage or something on there if you wanted to spice it up a little bit to match your the front of your card. Now, it is a cardboard material, like a thick card. But I want to reinforce it because over time, opening and closing, this creased area could weaken, especially once I add in some signatures or a signature. So I'm going to add some cloth inside my card today, and this actually serves two purposes. Apart from strengthening and reinforcing the card, I actually like the look around the edge. It gives it, a little bit of a frayed fabric look around the edge. And it gives the cover like a much thicker feeling. It is still a soft cover journal, but it's quite firm. It's a nice thick cardstock. So I've cut this piece of cotton roughly to the size of my card, and I'm just going to adhere it and sort of smooth out these wrinkles. I'm going to be popping another piece of cardstock on top, so I'm just going to use a glue stick to hold it in place for the moment. So now I have my fabric adhered onto the inside of my card, and I've also cut another piece of cardstock that is just ever so slightly smaller than my card all the way round. Now, because my fabric is very, very thin, I didn't need to apply, a thick layer of glue, because the glue that I pop onto this cardstock will actually soak through this fabric. You could also stitch this on if you preferred, but for today's project I'm just going to use some glue. So when I'm adhering the card on the inside of my cover, I need to make sure that if I have an upside and a downside, that I'm putting it in the card the right way, and I'm only going to do half at a time. I've also folded this in half so I know roughly where the middle of my paper is, and I'm going to line that up with the edge of the crease of my card. And then I'm just going to close the card. Now, this glue allows me a couple of minutes to sort of move things around. It doesn't adhere straight away. So I can make sure that my card is lined up, and if I need to, I can pull it across a little bit. And then just give that a good press down. Then I'm going to add glue onto the other side of this card. I'm not putting glue right on the actual crease line of my card, so that once I start poking my holes in to sew in my signature, I don't want that to be glued down. I would like that to have a little bit of movement. So I'm avoiding that crease and just popping glue all around the edge and in the middle of the card. So now I have my cover here that's been reinforced with this cloth and also this card, and I'm just going to start trimming this extra cloth off, but I don't want it trimmed right up to the edge of the card because I want it to have a nice little bit of fray around the edge. So I'm just going to trim about 1/2 centimetre away from the edge of the card. And then to make these edges look a little bit more frayed and natural, I will just start pulling some of the threads. So now I've trimmed all my fabric and frayed the edges, and I'm ready to put my signature inside my journal. Now I've pre-made this signature here using coffee dyed papers, vellum, just a whole assortment of different things. There's some scrapbook paper and things. And I've trimmed it down to size so that I know that it's going to fit nicely inside my journal or inside my cover. So just lining that up there. Now normally I wouldn't punch a signature this thick all in one go, but because I'm going through the spine of the card as well, I'm going to try and do it, you know, in one single go, just so I make sure everything lines up properly. So I'm going to use my punch cradle here, and I place my signature inside, making sure that everything is aligned as I would like it to be, and everything is pushed down into the base of the cradle. And I'm just going to eyeball it. You can measure it if you want to, but I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm just going to punch that through there, and then I'm going to eyeball at the top here, probably about 1 inch or so from the edge, maybe a little bit more, and same again, just popping my punch through, and then the same at the bottom here. So I can take that one away now, and I've got here a needle with some thick thread in it, and I'm just going to use the pamphlet stitch going through the middle of my signature, or the middle hole, leaving a tail coming up through the top hole, and then going down through the bottom hole, and then back through the middle hole again. So when I'm bringing this thread up back through the middle hole, I want to make sure that one thread is on one side of this middle thread and the other thread is going to be on the other side. So I'm just going to pull that back out a little bit and push that thread over to the other side, and then pull my needle through. So just making sure my threads are lined up there. Now I'm just going to pull them firm, but not too firm, because I don't want to stretch any of these holes that I've punched. So making sure I don't have any buckles or anything here, they feel nice and firm. And then just tying that off in a knot. Now some people like to leave these longer or trim them shorter. For today I'm just going to trim them. So there we go. Now I have my signature sewn into my book. And I'm ready to stick my pockets down now. So I've also got two other pockets here that I've cut for the inside of the cover. And I'm just going to adhere those down with a little bit of glue on three sides. And then just pressing down. And then I'll do the same in the back cover. Now inside my signature I've used some tea and coffee dyed paper and some other brown papers, and then this page here, if I find the other half of it at the back of the book, this was actually just a 6x6 piece of paper from a 6x6 paper pad, and I've folded it to make sure that this page wouldn't extend past the edge here, and it's left me with this little short page. Now I could just leave it in there like a, you know, like a skinny little page, but to give it a little bit more interest I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue down either side and adhere that to the page that it's sewn in between. I want the pattern side out, so the blank side has been adhered to the page, to this page before it, and that will give me a little pocket here. So there's about 3 or 4 of those in here, so I'm just going to go through the book and adhere those little pockets down now. So now I've adhered all my little pockets down, I just want to finish off the spine of my book here. So I've got the threads here from where I've sewn in the signature, and I've pre-cut a little piece of material, the same fabric that I used on the inside of the book, and I also have a piece of lace here. So I'm going to run a bead of glue along the edge of the book here, so this will reinforce that spine from the outside here, and it also protects these threads from rubbing or catching on anything, because if they caught on something and, you know, broke, then you run the risk of your signature coming loose inside your little journal. So I'm just going to run a little bead of glue along here. Then I have my piece of cloth here, which is a little bit too long. I'm just roughly eyeballing the middle of the cloth and making sure that I've got enough up the top there. I'll trim this extra bit off afterwards. So just pressing that cloth down onto the glue. And I'll just trim that little bit extra off. And that little cut bit I will fray up again after we've finished. So this part is adhered like right on the edge of the spine, but I still have these pieces here which haven't been adhered. I'm just going to run a little bit of glue along the card here. And use that to adhere down my fabric. Now this fabric is very sheer, so the glue will show through until it's dry, and then you won't be able to see it. So I've adhered my cloth down, and now I'm just going to take this decorative piece of lace and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to run a bead of glue along here. So once your glue's dried, your journal's pretty much done and ready for you to use. You can go back inside and fill up your pockets with your tags and your journaling cards and embellish it however you choose. To close the journal, I've just selected a piece of sari silk and then I just tie it around the front of the journal like this. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.